The junkyard was quiet. Only the wind moved soft and slow between the sharp metal and old broken machines. The sky above was gray. 2 suns were hiding behind thick clouds. It was always like this on the edge of ZIR-7. Jacob, a human scavenger, walked slowly with his metal detector. He had brown dust on his boots and a scarf around his face. His job was simple: search for parts, sell what he found, and try to survive another day. He had been doing this for years. Nothing ever changed until today. Jacob stopped walking. He thought he heard something. A sound. Faint, weak, like a whisper. He pulled his scarf down and listened. Help. He turned his head. Nothing but piles of old junk. He stepped closer. Please. Someone, help me. It was a voice. A woman's voice. Jacob narrowed his eyes and pushed through a rusted metal wall. The sound was coming from the other side, a place where broken machines had been dumped for years. He walked slowly, moving metal scraps with his gloved hands. Then he saw it. There was a body under the junk. Not human. Alien. Her skin was a soft violet color, now pale and dirty. Her silver hair was messy and tangled with wires. She had strange tattoos on her face, glowing faintly blue. Jacob dropped to one knee. She was lying on her side, half covered in scrap metal. Her eyes were open, but tired. Hey, Jacob said. Softly. You alive? She blinked slowly. Don't leave me. Jacob carefully moved some of the metal off her. She flinched. It's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. She looked up at him, tears mixing with the dust on her cheeks. Everyone left me, she said. Even my family. They threw me away. Jacob's heart tightened. He had seen many sad things in the galaxy. But this was cold. Can you move? He asked. She tried. Her arms shook but didn't rise. Her legs didn't move at all. No, she whispered. I'm broken. Jacob pulled a flask from his belt and gave her water. She drank with trembling lips. What's your name? He asked. She stared at him. For a moment, she didn't answer. Then she said, Tavira. I'm Jacob, he replied. We need to get you out of here. No, she said weakly. They'll come back if they know I'm still alive. Jacob frowned. Who? Your family? She nodded slowly. They're powerful. I was supposed to die here, quietly. Jacob looked around. The place was full of junk, no cameras, no people. It was a good place to disappear, but he wasn't going to let that happen. I'm not leaving you, Jacob said firmly. You don't deserve this. Tavira looked shocked. Why would a human help me? Even my own kind didn't care. Jacob gave a small smile. Maybe that's what makes us different. He picked her up gently. She was light, almost too light. Her bones felt fragile. She winced in pain. Careful, my spine. I've got you, Jacob said. He carried her through the junkyard, back to his transport sled. As he laid her down on a soft blanket, she grabbed his hand. Thank you, she said. You're the first person who saw me as something more. Jacob looked at her, truly looked. Yes, she was dirty, broken, abandoned. But in her eyes, there was still life, still hope. He started the engine. Dust rose behind them as they drove away. Far above, a small drone blinked its red light. It had been watching the whole time. It sent a silent message through the clouds. Tavira woke to the sound of metal clicking. She wasn't in the junkyard anymore. The ceiling above her was made of wooden planks and rusted ship parts. A warm blanket was pulled over her chest. The soft hum of a small heater whispered beside her. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. But then the pain in her back reminded her no. This was real. She was alive. And someone had saved her. Hey, said a calm voice. Tavira turned her head. Slowly. Jacob stood at a small work table, fixing something with tools. He looked tired, but peaceful. You're safe now, he said without turning. We're in my place. Just a few clicks from the junkyard. She stared at him. Why did you bring me here? He put down his tool and faced her. You needed help. And I don't leave people to die. Her lips trembled. Even if they're not human? Jacob smiled a little, especially then. Silence filled the room for a few seconds. Then she asked, "What is this place?" "My home," he said. "A scrapyard shelter. Built it myself from old wrecks and trade junk. Not much, but it keeps the wind out." Tavira tried to sit up but couldn't. "I'm still broken," she said bitterly. "No," Jacob replied. "You're still healing." Later that evening, while Tavira rested, Jacob stepped outside. He checked the perimeter, scanning with an old sensor rod. Something felt off. The junkyard was silent. Too silent. And then, click, click, a sound in the distance. Like claws on metal. Jacob narrowed his eyes. He turned his sensor rod toward the sound. For a second, the display flashed red. Heat signature detected, not animal. Then it disappeared. Jacob returned inside. He didn't say anything to Tavira. Not yet. That night, as she sipped warm broth, she spoke softly. Her voice was almost a whisper. "They didn't just leave me," she said. "They ordered me to be erased." Jacob frowned. "Your family?" She nodded. "After the accident, I was no longer useful. My spine was damaged. They thought I couldn't access the bloodline tech, so they threw me away." "Bloodline tech?" he asked. Tavira hesitated. Then, she pulled up her shirt slightly, revealing part of her lower back. They're faint. Under her skin glowed a strange, thin line like a circuit fused into her flesh. "It's part of my birthright," she explained. "My family guards ancient alien power. It's passed down only through blood, but it needs to be unlocked, trained." Jacob looked closer. The tech wasn't like anything he had ever seen. "They feared I'd still awaken it," she continued. "Even paralyzed, so they made sure no one would ever find me." Jacob sat back. "That's sick." Tavira looked down. "They said I was a risk, a shame, a danger." Jacob was silent for a moment. Then he said, "They were wrong." Outside the house, something moved. A shape quick and silent crawled over the scrap piles. It wasn't alone. 4 shadows gathered in the dark. Each wore a light-reflecting cloak and carried long weapons on their backs. One of them lifted a hand. A small red light blinked on their wristband. "Target located. Confirm presence of human interference." "Orders?" came a voice through the comms. The leader hissed, "Observe for now. If the implant activates, we strike." Back inside, Tavira suddenly winced. Her spine burned. Not pain, something else, a heat. A pulse, as if something deep inside her had awakened. "Jacob," she gasped. "Something's happening to me." He rushed over. "What is it?" She shook her head. "It's the tech. I think it knows I'm alive again." Jacob grabbed a scanner from his shelf and hovered it over her back. The screen showed a glowing core deep inside her spine, flickering, slow. "But waking up. This thing's alive," he whispered. Tavira stared at him, fear and hope in her eyes. "Then they'll come for me again," she said. "They'll know it's waking up." Jacob looked toward the door. "They already do," he said. The message wasn't sent by voice. It came as a whisper through Jacob's old comm unit, an encrypted pulse signal from an unknown source. Just one line. "Return the broken one to the junkyard, or be buried beside her." Jacob stared at it. The message blinked once, then deleted itself. He stood still for a moment. Then he looked over his shoulder. Tavira was resting on the small couch, breathing softly. She didn't know yet. He powered off the comm unit and slid it into a drawer. That night, he couldn't sleep. He sat outside the shelter, staring up at the broken moons of Ziran 7. The cold air stung his skin, but he didn't care. "Return her," he whispered. like she's trash. He remembered how she looked in the junkyard, barely alive, covered in dust, whispering for help. He remembered how light she felt in his arms, as if the world had already given up on her. No doubt he wasn't giving her back. The next day, Tavira woke to the smell of warm bread. Jacob had made breakfast. "I tried to make something soft," he said. "Not sure if it tastes good, human food." She gave a small smile. Anything that isn't rats or rust is welcome. As she ate, she noticed something different in his eyes. "You didn't sleep last night," she said softly. He didn't answer. He didn't want to worry her, but Tavira wasn't blind. "They know where I am, don't they?" Jacob sighed. "Yes, and they told me to give you back." Tavira looked down, her fingers tightening around the blanket. "I knew this wouldn't last," she said quietly. "They always finish what they start." Jacob leaned closer. "Tavira, if I give you back, they won't just hurt you. They'll erase you, I know. And if I don't," he said, "they'll come after me too." She met his eyes. "Then run, Jacob. Leave me here." "You still have a life." Jacob shook his head. "Not anymore. Not since I pulled you out of that junk." Later that day, Jacob visited the junkyard again, but not for parts. He had a plan. He started digging through piles of broken tech, searching for old defense units. Drone parts, trip mines. Anything useful. If they were coming, he would be ready. Voice behind him said, "You always work alone, Jacob, but today you look like a soldier." Jacob turned. It was Relo, another scavenger. Gray-skinned alien, greedy eyes. "Looking for something special?" Relo asked. "Just parts," Jacob said. "You hiding something? Or someone?" Jacob didn't reply. Relo chuckled. "Word gets around fast. The nobles want something back. A lost item, they say. She's not an item." "Oh?" Relo tilted his head. "You found her, didn't you? In the rust. They say she's got value, but also danger. She's a person. Well, watch yourself, human. Helping her might get you turned to scrap too." That evening, as the sun set over the rusted world, Jacob returned with an old exosuit frame and some trap parts. Tavira watched him silently as he worked setting up trip alarms around the shelter, placing hidden shock mines in the dirt. "You're really going to fight them?" she asked. "I don't plan to die today," Jacob replied, tightening a bolt. "And neither do you." "You're risking everything," she whispered. He looked at her. "So are you, just by staying alive." Suddenly, the lights flickered. Jacob stood quickly, grabbing his weapon. A strange humming sound passed overhead. Tavira gasped. "That's them." Jacob rushed to the window and saw a Black Scout drone hovering near the edge of the junk piles. It scanned the ground, then flew off. "Good," he muttered. "Let them come." Tavira was breathing hard. "Jacob, I have to tell you something." "What?" "My implant. It's waking up. Every hour, I can feel more of it. Yesterday, I moved my fingers. Today, I felt a pulse in my legs." Jacob turned, shocked. "That's good, right?" "It's not. Just healing," Tavira said. "If the implant fully activates, it could unlock things even I don't understand. That's what they're afraid of." Jacob looked out the window again, then back at her. "Then we give them something to be afraid of." Asterisk outside. Far in the darkness, a figure crouched silently. A sleek alien assassin raised a scope to his eye and whispered into a cum. "Target confirmed. Human has refused the warning. Awaiting kill order." Asterisk. The first shot came just before sunrise. It didn't hit Jacob. It hit the doorframe a warning. Jacob didn't blink. He had been waiting. He rolled across the floor, grabbed his plasma rifle, and shouted, "They're here!" Tavira flinched from her bed, heart pounding. Her hands reached for something. Anything, but she still couldn't move her legs. She was trapped. She was the target, and she knew it. Outside, 3 cloaked attackers. moved like shadows through the junkyard fog. Their helmets glowed red. Their movements were silent. They weren't here to capture. They were here to end it quickly. Jacob ducked behind his metal wall and activated the first defense trap. BZZ to pop. A flash of blue electricity exploded in the sand. One attacker flew back, armor smoking. The other two changed tactics, spreading apart. Jacob muttered, "Didn't think it'd be that easy." He aimed carefully and fired. One missed. One hit. Sparks flew as a cloak disintegrated. A female alien beneath snarled her, face twisted with hate. "You protect garbage." She spat through her COMMZ. Jacob smirked. Better than being the one who throws it away. Inside the shelter, Tavira fought against herself. Move. Come on. Move. She tried lifting her leg. Nothing. Tears formed in her eyes. Jacob was outside, fighting for her, alone, and she couldn't even crawl to the door. Suddenly, the implant in her back pulsed like a heartbeat. Stronger than yesterday. She gritted her teeth. "I won't be helpless. Not again." Outside, Jacob took cover behind a broken cargo crate. One attacker was still moving fast, zigzagging through the junk. He was good. Too good. Jacob counted the seconds, then stood and fired. Direct hit to the shoulder. The alien staggered, but didn't fall. "You'll die for her," the attacker growled. Jacob wiped blood from his lip. "Maybe, but not today." A loud crash behind him made Jacob spin. They breached the sidewall. The female attacker leaped into the shelter. Tavira screamed. She landed just feet away from the paralyzed alien and raised her blade. "Say goodbye." But before she could strike, boom. Jacob's last defense mine detonated under her feet. The explosion threw her across the room. Jacob dove inside, smoke filling the air. "Tavira." She coughed and called out, "I'm here." He rushed to her side. Her arms shook, but she grabbed his sleeve. "Don't let them take me." Jacob looked her in the eyes. "Never." He turned just in time to block another attacker's blade. With a wrench, they fought hand-to-hand now. Blades against tools. Skill against desperation. Jacob wasn't a trained soldier, but he had one thing the enemy didn't: a reason to fight. Minutes later, silence returned to the junkyard. Jacob stood, breathing hard, face bruised, blood on his shoulder. Two attackers lay unconscious. One had escaped. He locked the door and checked Tavira. "I'm okay," she whispered. "Are you?" He laughed weakly. Still standing, Tavira looked up at him. "Why did you fight so hard? You could have walked away." Jacob sat beside her, eyes soft. "Because someone has to stand up for the ones left behind." Tavira blinked. No one had ever said that for her. Not her family. Not her kind. Only him, a human who had nothing to gain. Later that night, as Jacob cleaned the blood off his tools, Tavira whispered, "I felt something today, when I screamed." Jacob looked over. "I moved my right toe." He froze. "You what?" "I think the implant is waking up faster. Because I'm not alone anymore." Jacob smiled, but outside, far in the junk hills, the escaped attacker pressed a bloody thumb to a small cube. A hologram flickered to life, a tall alien in royal robes. "Report," the voice said. "She's still lives, and the implant is stabilizing." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Then the final order is clear, burn the entire junk zone. No survivors." Tavira's body was still, but inside her spine, something ancient had started to whisper. Not in words, in pulses, in heat, in memory. Her skin burned cold. Her hands shook. Her breath quickened. "Jacob," she gasped. "It's happening again inside." "Me." He rushed to her side, kneeling beside her bed. "What is it?" "Pain?" "No, not pain," she said slowly. "It feels like something is waking up. Like an old machine trying to start again after years." Jacob placed his hand on her back, just above the implant line. A small hum came through his fingers, faint, but steady. He pulled out his scanner and hovered it over her lower spine. The screen flickered. Symbols he'd never seen before began dancing across the display. What the hell? What is it? Tavira asked, voice trembling. Jacob shook his head. This isn't normal tech. This isn't even modern tech. It's old, maybe thousands of years, hidden inside you. She looked away. I was born with it. All nobles in my bloodline carry a version of it. But mine was rare, special. Why they feared me? Feared you? He asked. They said I wasn't meant to inherit, that I was a mistake. But they didn't want others to know, so they tried to erase me quietly. She closed her eyes, but something inside me refused. To shut down. Outside the shelter, wind kicked up dust out far above. A large ship hovered in silence, its body cloaked, invisible to the naked eye. Inside, the noble leader of Tavira's house stood before a war table, eyes locked on a flashing point on the map. The implant is reaching activation stage, a guard reported. Soon it may unlock the sealed memory vault. The noble narrowed his eyes. If that vault opens, every secret we buried with her will return. What do we do? The noble turned cold. Burn them all. Burn the human. Burn the girl. Wipe the ground clean. Back at the shelter, Tavira's body suddenly jerked. Jacob, she cried. Something's wrong, too fast, too hot. He grabbed her hand. I'm here. I won't leave. Then, it happened. Her eyes rolled back, and her body went still. The implant flared bright blue, glowing through her back like liquid fire. The scanner went wild, flashing symbols and alarms. And then, something unexpected. A hologram appeared in the air above her. Jacob stepped back. Stunned. It wasn't an image of a place or person. It was a vault floating in space, sealed by symbols. Locked behind bloodline codes, words appeared in glowing alien script. Tavira's voice, soft but clear, spoke though her lips didn't move. Memory access, lineage vault 77. Preparing to open, Jacob whispered. What in the galaxy is this? Inside her mind, Tavira floated in a white void. She saw images flash by her ancestors. Battles, secrets long hidden. She saw her people creating the implant tech, designed not just to pass power, but to store history. Hidden truths only accessible through pain, suffering, and survival. She saw her name written in a list of future rulers. She saw it crossed out, then erased. Tavira whispered to herself. They tried to delete me, but the implant remembered. Back in the room, her body shivered. Then slowly her right leg moved. Jacob's eyes widened. Tavira. Her left foot shifted. She opened her eyes, breathing hard. I felt that, she whispered. I moved, Jacob, I moved both legs. He grabbed her hand. You did it. No, we did it. She looked at the hologram. That's what they didn't want me to see. The vault contains their crimes, the lies, the betrayals. If I open it, their rule ends. Jacob stared at the floating symbols. Then let's open it. Suddenly, the shelter shook. An explosion outside. Jacob jumped up, heart racing. The sky turned red. Flames rose in the distance. They're burning the junkyard, he said. They've started the purge. Another blast rocked the walls. Tavira sat upright with shaking arms. You need to go, she said. Take the data. Run, don't die because of me. But Jacob grabbed his rifle. I'm not leaving. I can't walk yet, she said. You'll die protecting me. Jacob looked at her, fire in his eyes. I didn't save you just to lose you now. Asterisk outside. Dozens of armed soldiers moved in a line, flamethrowers and drones clearing a path. One of them raised a hand. Target location confirmed. Prepare to eliminate. Inside, Tavira placed her hand on Jacob's chest and whispered, Then, let me stand with you. Even if I fall, let me fall fighting. The royal ship didn't land with sound. It descended slow and cold. Like a shadow falling from the sky. Dust curled around its silver legs as it touched the scorched ground outside. The junkyard. No words. No sirens. Just silence. And power. Jacob stood at the edge of the hill, rifle across his back, watching the ship settle like a predator. Beside him, Tavira leaned against the metal wall, using an old brace Jacob had built to keep her upright. She was still shaky. Still half paralyzed. But she stood. She looked at the ship with quiet fire in her eyes. "They're here," she said. Jacob nodded. "Let them come." The ship opened with a hiss. Guards stepped out in polished armor, gold trimmed. Faces hidden. Then he stepped forward. The man Tavira once called father, his tall frame, purple robes, and cold eyes looked untouched by war or loss. His face was as sharp as his voice. "Tavira," he said, "you've made things difficult." She clenched her jaw. "I'm still alive. That's what bothers you." He looked at Jacob next, the human who found our trash and confused it for treasure. Jacob didn't flinch. "You call her trash, but I see someone stronger than all of you." The noble's smile was thin. "You've forgotten your place, human." "No," Jacob said, stepping in front of Tavira. "I've just found a better one." Tavira's father raised a hand. A glowing disc projected a royal contract into the air filled with alien script. "She belongs to the house," he said. "By blood, by law, by implant." Jacob glanced at Tavira. Her hands trembled. "Not with fear but rage. I'm not a thing," she said, stepping forward with weak legs. "I'm not yours." "You were born with royal tech," her father replied. "You are not allowed to walk away from it. You are dangerous. Because I survived?" She shouted. Double quotes, "No. Because you remember." The guards moved closer, surrounding the shelter. "You have one chance," her father said to Jacob. "Give her back. Walk away. We'll pay you more than you've ever seen." Jacob stared at him for a long moment. Then he laughed softly. "Funny," he said. "You left her to die, and now you want to buy her back with credits? She belongs to the bloodline." "No," Jacob replied. "She belongs to herself." Tavira raised her hand. Her fingers glowed faint blue, just like the implant. "Jacob unlocked it," she said proudly. "Not you, not your empire. Him, the man you called worthless." Her father's eyes narrowed. "Then you choose to die beside him?" "No," she said. "I choose to live beside him." Suddenly movement. One of the guards lunged forward. Jacob fired first. The guard dropped. The others moved in a flash. Blasters raised. Jacob shouted, "Get behind me." But Tavira didn't. She lifted her arms, shaking, focusing. The implant in her spine lit up. And from her hands, a pulse wave exploded, blue, sharp, powerful. The guards were thrown back like leaves in a storm. Even her father stumbled, robe whipping. Around him, everyone froze. Tavira fell to her knees, panting. Jacob rushed to catch her. "I'm okay," she whispered. "It's waking up. All of it." Her father stared at her, now not with hate, but with fear. "She's bonding with the vault tech." One of the guards whispered, "We can't control her anymore." The noble's face turned pale. "Then destroy them both." More soldiers moved from the ship. Flame to ROUERS, armed, drones buzzing. Jacob tightened his grip on his rifle. "We won't win," Tavira whispered. "Maybe not," he said, "but I didn't come here to win. I came here to stand." He looked at her, eyes full of something stronger than fear. "If I die today, I'll die protecting you. That's enough for me." Tavira stared at him, heart pounding. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had ever loved her like that. Not until now. Just before the order to fire, a sudden transmission cracked through every comm device. "This is Vault 77. Historical truth upload in progress." The implant had connected to the satellite grid. Her family's secrets were being broadcast across the sector. Everyone turned toward her in shock. Tavira whispered to herself, "You tried to erase me. Now the galaxy will remember me." The sky over the junkyard turned gold. Not from sunlight, but from truth. Above the clouds, glowing satellites now streamed Tavira's memories to every screen. Every ship and every planet her noble family once ruled. Old secrets, war crimes, betrayals. Her father's voice echoed in recordings, ordering her removal. Images showed her young and smiling, then broken, then discarded, and now standing again. Alive, defiant. The truth was no longer buried. It was rising. The soldiers hesitated. Their fingers hovered over triggers, but their eyes darted to their combs. Where Tavira's story played on repeat. One by one, they lowered their weapons. "This is real?" one of them asked aloud. Her father's voice trembled, rage hiding behind pride. "Lies, fake images. This is a digital trick." But no one moved, not anymore. They had seen what he tried to hide. Inside the wreckage shelter, Jacob stood by Tavira as she slowly rose to her feet. No brace, no support. She was still weak, still shaking, but she stood. Her hand reached out and grabbed Jacob's. Together, they stepped forward. And Tavira, voice clear and strong, said to her father, "You broke me and left me in the dirt, but you forgot something important." Her implant glowed, casting a soft light across her face. "The dirt is where seeds grow." Her father snarled and raised his arm. "Kill her now." But no one obeyed. Not one soldier moved. They looked at her, then at him. Then one of them took off his helmet and stepped aside. So did the next, and the next. One guard kneeled, then another. Jacob smiled softly. "Looks like they've made their choice." Tavira looked at her father alone now, standing in silence. "I don't hate you," she said, "but I will never belong to you again." She turned to the soldiers. "You don't have to fight for lies anymore. You can choose better." They didn't speak. They didn't need to. Their silence was their answer. Her father backed away, pride crumbling. He shouted at his ship's AI to prepare for departure. But as the ramp opened, a group of local scavengers and civilians blocked the path. Jacob's people. They had seen the broadcast. They had seen what Tavira survived. One of them said, "You don't get to run." Her father turned to Jacob, desperate. "You'll regret this, human." Jacob stepped forward, calm and fearless. "No, I'll remember this as the day we took back someone the galaxy tried to forget." Later, as the noble was escorted away in silence, Tavira and Jacob stood alone in the wind. The junkyard was quiet again. But this time, it didn't feel like a grave. It felt like the beginning of something new. Tavira leaned on him, breathing deep. "I don't know what comes next," she said. Jacob smiled. "Then we'll build it together." "You never asked for anything from me," she whispered. "I didn't need anything," he said, "except you." Final scene. Months later, Tavira walked freely through the same junkyard, where she was once left to die. Her legs still hurt sometimes, her back still burned, but she was healing. And not just her body. Her voice now spoke for others who had been forgotten. She was no longer royalty, no longer discarded. She was something far more powerful, remembered, respected, reborn. And beside her always walked the human who saw her first, not as broken, but as beautifully worth saving.